Good afternoon, welcome to Made by Granat. It's Anna here, and I just realized this morning that I forgot to do a flip through of my summer blues journal. So let's do it together, shall we? This book was made out of a repurposed book, this journal I mean, that was published in 1860, so it is quite old. And it was a reader, a German reader, where you were learning ancient Nordic languages like Icelandic and those really old languages. And let's start with the dimensions, shall we? 6¼ inch by 9¼ inch. And the spine, I made a new spine because the old one was really in a bad condition. And the spine is about 1½ inch. So, as I said, a new spine. And I have shown in my videos how I made this from the inside and out. The spine is covered in this beautiful blue rose pattern. On the front we have this image with a flower picker. I can't remember the artist, but the painting is the flower picker. And on the back side we have a little collage down here and a stamp up here. And this is really a grungy journal. I have sewn these 11 signatures in with a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. It has a hidden hollowback spine, and yeah, 280 pages in total, so it's a big book, a big journal. Let's get started, shall we? We have the inside covers are scrapbooking paper, Elizabeth Craft's design, her what are they called? Reminiscence, these books. One of them, can't remember which one, but from one of her books. This is the original first page of the textbook. 1860, as I said. I have made a tiny bit of collaging with a flower and these fussy cut ladies. And it's a summer journal, so they are in their swimsuits. Here we have an envelope, an airmail envelope that I opened up. You can journal on both sides. These papers I dyed using, I believe it was purple carrots, and it was like 5 or 6 years ago, even more, maybe 7 years ago. And these are my last ones. Here we have a book page. It is German and it's from 1834, rag paper. And as you can see, something is glued down here, and it's an envelope that flips out on the other side. We have a little collage here, and we have a tuck spot. And inside it is just this Tim Holtz ephemera. And on this side, as I said, another collage with a bird and some watercolor swatches that I made. And it flips out, and inside it is this little journaling card that I made in one of my Use It or Lose It videos. And this is some advertisements from a newspaper or a magazine from the 1800s or early 1900s. And I just backed them to some writable surface. This is from an address book that I have. And in the center we have some vintage ephemera from 1928. So it's almost antique. And here we have the bathing children, really summery image. Here we have another little fussy cut. This is from an Edith Holden book, and I also added the dog violets down here, so you know which flower it is. We are moving into, no, we have tip tip in first. This is a lovely image that came from a book about flowers, and it just tipped in here on the page. I made a little tab here using the old head and foot bands of the book, and it was really grungy, so I glued it down as a tab and then I sewed it on by hand using some blue thread. Now we are entering the second signature. More of the blue dyed paper. This is a page from the original text block. Here down here you have a torn piece of scrapbooking paper, a small image with a girl and her dog on a beach, and a label. And inside that pocket or tuck spot we'll have some tea-dyed journaling card and another one of those advertisements. So they go in there. Here we have a tip out, and this is an image, I believe it is P.S. Krøyer, a Danish artist. And I love this image of the lady and her Labrador sitting on the beach in the moonlight. I have backed it with tea-dyed paper and did a little stenciling down here. We have another envelope, an old one that I opened up. And I actually backed this one because it was quite fragile. I think I backed it. We have a telegram here, as you can see, a wedding telegram. But first we have a little book page from 1934, and on top of it is a tip up. And this is a piece of fabric that I tea-dyed with some flowers, blue and white. And on top of it I sewed this image with butterflies. So that flips up and you can see the page. You can even do some hidden journaling under there. We have small ledger, and in the center we have Edith Holden, of course. You can't have a summer journal without some Edith Holden. And here we have a pocket made out of a book page with some torn paper, tab and a fuzzy-cut bird. And inside that pocket is another little tea-dyed journaling card and some vintage commercial for Teller's coffee. That can go in there. And that's the telegram. And the back of the envelope. And no, I didn't back it. I saw. We have more pages from the original text block. Here's another one. We have a small collage here with some dragonflies and a label. And more of the blue paper. And more of the original text block. And here you can see the Icelandic language, or the Forn, ancient Nordic language. Down here we have a little birdie peeking out around the page. We have another old envelope, and here I have just clipped on this. It's a certificate that you know how to swim, and this is for Igmarie Lögdahl, 1950, in a lake. No, she was born 1950, and she the certificate is from 1961, so she was 11, and it was she got it in a lake. I have some blue copy paper. Here we have a page from a dictionary, and we have a tip in with the dog violet fairy, and you can journal on the back there. I just added some tea-dyed onion skin paper. Here we have a letter written on a some blue stationery. In the center is more stationery, and this is one that flips out, so you have lots of extra journaling space here. Or you can glue it up and use it as a pocket. And this is a Weebly notelet made in Scotland. So I don't know how old it is, but it has no barcode, so I'm guessing it's pretty old. And on the back of the letter we have a little pocket made out of some Tim Holtz ephemera, a genuine vintage antique stamp and some tape that I made look vintage. It's cellophane tape. Here we have a journaling card that I made out of some book page, a piece of a wallpaper border, and I backed it with some ledger. You can journal on that. Back of the blue, back of the envelope. And here we have a decorated page. I have added a piece of some flyleaf from another book that I inked a bit. I stamped a little flower down there, and I added this image that I sewn on to some muslin, and they are sitting on the beach with their dog, so I thought that was quite appropriate for a summer journal. Here's just a little stamp with some Swedish summer flowers, more of the fantastic dyed paper. And here we have another tip in, or tip out, made out of Tim Holtz backdrops, and I added the Tim Holtz lady down here and the stamp, and she is a pocket, and inside of her pocket we have a cancelled check from New Zealand, and that came from PCK Designs. And in this side it folds up and it's another pocket, and here we have our little journaling spot that I made in one of my use it to lose it's. It's a little notepad that I have sewn a little signature into, and we have a label, we have a fuzzy cut bird and a stamp, and I have just reinforced the spine with some Tim Holtz tape, washi tape, and I added a piece of string around it to keep it shut and make it look even more cool. And I really like this idea of folding it up and making some pockets like this. So that is tipped in with some fabric. It's not sewn in, it's tipped in. Here we have some blue stationery or a school notepad. We have a vintage receipt from 1925. Some airmail envelope that has been opened up. Lots and lots of journaling space in this journal. We have some recipes for cakes, because you need cake in the summer, right? And we have more Edith Holland. Look at these colors, absolutely gorgeous. And here you can see how you make the batter for your cakes. Here I did a little collage. I added a piece of some stationery and a little label there, and you can journal up here if you like. It's the back of the receipt. Love this layering of pages that's going on. Here is a pocket made out of a postcard, and this is a postcard, and the image is painted by Van Gogh, and inside it is a vintage Mother's Day card with the lilies on, and I think it's really pretty, and you can journal all the way back, so that's cool. And this the pages are from the original text block. We have more of the blue dyed paper, and here you can see that someone has been writing on this side and it has leaked through to the other side, but I think it's really cool. Here we have another tip in. This is an embroidery pattern, lovely blue, and it goes so well against this blue colored paper. We have a book page that I did a bit of collaging on with some watercolor swatches, a doily, fuzzy cut bird, and a stamped field notes. And the book page is from 1830, and it has lovely fox on it. We have more vintage ephemera here, and another envelope, and in the center is another note card in the same series as the other one, and you can flip this one out as well, and do some journaling. Back of that ephemera. Here's the back of the book page, more foxing. And I clipped in another receipt from 1951 and another piece of journaling cards I made with old advertisements and a frame I die cut, and I added a little paper clip that I curled up. We have more dyed paper. On this page we have a little pocket. Here we have me as a kid. I believe I was about 3 or 4 years old. And we have a little collage here behind me, and this is the wallpaper that I have in my kitchen. And I made it into one of those file folder thingies, and it is now a pocket, and you can journal inside here if you like. Inside the pocket we have a journaling card made from a collage masterboard and using some of Tim Holtz fall stamps and labels and a fussy cut bird, and you can journal on the back. More blue pages. Here is a little corner tuck made out of a what's it called? A tag, the top of a tag, and this little image, and it just tucks up there. And this is from a birthday book, and I just thought it could look cool in there. You can also add a little dangle there if you like. Here we have a tip in, and this is a lovely image. I think I received it from, I believe it came from Souvenir de la France. Beautiful, with the marbled paper around it. And one more old envelope. Here we have some dotted stationery, and I added a little frame to it. I made this frame looking at a video from, was it Camellia Crafts Design? Or maybe Nancy at Wishes and Weeds, or both. Anyway, I just made a little frame, added some cellophane, and inside it is this little journaling card with the small girls sitting in a boat. It says "Be brave." And down here is some watercolor swatches. You can journal on the back of that. Here is a German-Swedish dictionary from 1905. We have some old vintage 1922 antique receipt in a lovely color. Small collage up here. Once again, loving the layering here. Using different sizes of paper is really fun. All the folios that needed reinforcing has been reinforced with washi tape, and the washi tape has been strengthened with glue, so you don't have to worry. Here we have another pocket, and this one is another postcard, and this one is also a hidden journaling spot. So you can journal here. I think that got a bit squeezed down there. I'm gonna add some tape. And inside it is a journaling card I made using book page. Added an image, label, watercolor swatches, and lace. And that goes in there. We have one more envelope and more blue paper, copy paper, and we have some stationery. And an antique book page, rag paper, 1806. And I believe it's a religious text in Swedish. I'm having a bit difficult to read that. We have more vintage ephemera. This receipt is from 1919, so it's also antique. And it has been spilled something on at one point. I have no idea what. Here I just added this lovely lady, backed her onto some blue paper, and added a piece of tatting down there. Here we have another little tip in with this lovely image. I purchased a frame, secondhand thrifting a while back, and this one was in the frame, so I decided to use it in my blue journal. We have grid paper that has been dyed with the blue. We have a doily that I sprayed with what I call distress inks, distress sprays, the speckled ink, speckled egg, and also some gold. And I think that turned out quite cool. More pages from the original text block. Here is another blue page that I added some, and this is stationery. I added a piece of, I believe it's some kind of a handkerchief, but I don't think anyone would use it because of the material, but, or it could be some decoration. But I cut it to piece and I added it as a pocket. And inside it is this journaling card that I made. Another airmail envelope, another receipt from 1925, so it is 100 years. And in the center we have an image from a very old book about, it's antique, with images from the Nordic countries. And here we have what's more appropriate than the sea and an island and boats in the summer. Back of the receipt, airmail envelope. Here we have a little decoration with some kids and their dogs out in the garden in the summer. Back of the stationery. Up here I just added a little flower. They are stickers, but they look like pressed flowers. Here we have another tip in. This is a whole book page out of a book about Nordic flowers. So I think that is, and then I backed with some craft paper, and I think that's a really beautiful image. We have the rest of the doily that decided to stick down a bit. Here I mended it, the paper, with some faux cellophane tape, faux vintage. More book page from the original text block. Blue paper. Here's an envelope. Someone cut off the stamp. It wasn't me. And we have it's a birthday book, but it is Edith Holden images. Beautiful. Here we have another piece of stationery, and I added a pocket that I made. I stamped on muslin, then I sewed it onto some striped ticking, hand sewn, and made a few French knots, and then I sewed it onto a page. And I think those pockets are quite fun. I very rarely hand sew things, so this book I really added a lot of it for being me. We have a tag made out of the same paper with the advertisements. This is Tim Holtz people, and a little label, and I added some sari silk to the top. We have a songbook from Denmark from 1834. Lots of different old papers in here. This is the other side of this magazine. The first page, it was just a folio. And the first page I added in the center. It's absolutely beautiful. It's from 1874, so it is antique. Back of the stationery there, and more blue flowers from Edith Holden, and the back of the envelope. And more of the blue paper that I dyed. And here we have a paper pad. I have added a piece of Tim Holtz cardstock up here, and I added some scraps, coffee dyed papers, stamped there, ledger, blue paper that I stamped, lined paper, and these are just held on by brads. So if you want to exchange them, you can just take out the brads and put in some new papers. So I think that's a fun addition. more blue paper, and here we have a lovely piece of vellum that is printed. Here we have a tip-in made out of Tim Holtz wallpaper. Add this fussy cut man, a little piece of book page, and my watercolor swatches. They are everywhere in this book, and I really like that. So pretty. And that's attached to a page from the original text block. We have another envelope. This one is from the Canadian Bank of Commerce to Sweden in 1917. Sorry about the dogs barking. I believe my son is out in the garage. Just getting a sip of water. We have some grid blue paper, another page of a blue letter, and in the center here we have a pocket made out of book page, botanical book pages that I have glued together, and inside it is another one of these advertisements. Really nice, from 1874. Here we have another pocket I made. This is napkin that I decoupaged. Well, I just Mod Podged it actually and let it dry. Excuse me. And then I sewed around it and made it into a pocket. And this is quite strong now. And it's quite see-through. I love doing that. A big tag that I made out of book page and some scrapbooking paper and sorry, silk. And you can add more decorations to this if you like. Back of the vellum and blue paper. Here we have another page from the original text block, and we have a tip-in on it, which is a number, the letter S. This is an index card divider, and on top of it we have a pocket made out of a fish. This is actually a handmade postcard that I decided to make into a pocket. And we have another one of the book page journaling cards that I made with lace. I made these in Use It or Lose It, I think. Back of the envelope. And more copy paper. Here we have a little small piece of folio. It's just an offcut of the Pep Impress wrapping papers. And I made it tag shaped and added a little reinforcer. And it just adds some interest to another quite boring spread. We have a botanical page, and here is a small folio from a notebook, traveler's notebook, small book. We have a hard bread invoice, or invoice from 1912. And in the center we have this lovely image which is called Summer by Sir William Ernest Reynolds Stevens, and he lived between 1862 to 1843, and I love this. Really suitable for a blue summer journal. Let's see. Here's the back of the tag. And here's the envelope, and I added a pocket here. And this is an image of probably Victorian or Edwardian ladies out, and men and kids out on the beach. And I sewed it onto some cardstock and made it into a pocket. And inside it is this bookmark that I received in mail, and this small tag. Beautiful. And we have reached the back of the book, and we have another image from a book page, and it's backed onto blue paper. This is not a pocket, it's just an image, but it's two kids preparing to make linen thread. And once again, same scrapbooking paper, and I just added a little image of two blue birds up there. So that was my summer blues. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think. If you're interested, she is available in my Etsy store if you see this video. And if you hurry up, there is a sale going on today and tomorrow as well. So that will be it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to be back soon with another video. Take care now. Bye.